A society is just a bunch of people that decide to take shared values and to live under the same rules. That's all a society is.
There's no hurdles for young kids today. There's no hurdles. My definition of a man is someone that can be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
If you believe in something which is normally yourself, don't give you any other choices than to succeed.
This is the Nico Lagan Show. Frankly, motivation is bullshit. What you need is discipline, and your mindset is the difference between success and failure. Warning. Warning. This show contains explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. Real, raw, and shooting you straight. This is the Nico Lagan Show. And now your host, Nico.
What if I look at the past 20 years of my corporate world? There's like 3 guys that saw something in me that I did not see for myself. And
but I honestly, I hear this, and I meet successful people. Like Will Roman, he started his business. He started Chiso's Boots.
Yeah, you were talking about him earlier.
He's got a lot of the same background as you do.
Yeah.
And what I see about that is there's no hurdles for young kids today. There's no hurdles.
No.
It's a safe place to play. It's everything's soft. Everyone wears a helmet when they're riding a bicycle. I didn't have a helmet when I was riding a bicycle.
Lived in the fucking 90s. We shattered our helmets. They weren't meant to put on our heads.
But again, hard times produces, hard men.
Strong men.
And they do. And it really does. And the diversity that you've gone through, I wouldn't say you sought it out. I think it was, you may have subconsciously sought it out.
I think I did. Subconsciously, yeah.
But it gives you a base to move from. What I see is kids that have no diversity. They have no base. They don't know good or bad. They just know that everything's going to be okay, and that I can go. That I'm going to be there's always a safety net.
Yep.
Someone's always going to save me.
Mm-hmm.
But you knew once you got out there through diversity that, hey, listen, there's no safety net. There's shit that can happen that there's no one there to save you, and there's no one coming,
Have you ever heard of the idea of burning bridges?
Yeah, I burnt a lot of them.
I don't think you're talking about the same as mine. I'm not talking about being assholes to people and they don't talk to you afterwards.
It's a daily occurrence for Jamie. That's right.
There's have you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich?
Think and Grow Rich, no.
You should. Okay. This is brilliant. It's the first how do you call them? Not self-building, but self-help book.
Okay.
But it's out there. The things that he talks about is no bullshit. It was written at the beginning of the 20th century. And the guy pretty much was asked by one of the richest industrialists in American history. Literally, I think he's class number 7 of richest men to ever live. Carnegie is the last name. And
it's got a hall I know about, Carnegie.
Yeah. Well, he was, from memory, if my memory serves me right, he was the owner. He assembled all the biggest industries together. I think it were metal workers under one organization, and he was at the head of it. He was worth, like, in today's money, like a few billion, it's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. But Napoleon Hill, which is the guy that wrote Think and Grow Rich, knew Carnegie, and Carnegie put him to the test. He said, I want you to meet the richest person in the U.S. and tell them what it takes, and ask them what it takes to be successful, and write a book about it. Took 20 years to write this book, and I think the book is 150 pages. It's super easy to read, but it is absolutely fucking brilliant. And one of the things that he talks about visualization. He talks about, do you know what no FAP is?
No.
No masturbation. He's the first one to actually talk about that, about how men's most powerful energy comes from ejaculation. You can create life with that. And today we masturbate every fucking day watching porn, not touching women. So he talks about how reabsorbing that if you don't use it, it gets reabsorbed in your body, and you stop worrying so much about sexual things that you concentrate on what actually matters. But I'm digressing, but I love that book. Anybody that's listening, if you've never read Think and Grow Rich, buy it, read it. That book will fucking change your life. But one of the principles he talks about is burning bridges. So there's a chapter where he talks about this guy that wants to work with Thomas Edison. He doesn't have any money. He has no reasons that would interest Thomas Edison to ever consider him. But and he doesn't want to be an employee of Thomas Edison. He wants to be an associate of Thomas Edison. So this is quite the goal here. We're not talking about I want to own my own business. I want to be with one of the most successful industrialists in American history. So the guy quits everything, takes the little money that he has, jumps on a train, and goes to where Thomas Edison is, goes to the office and begs him to give him a job. He starts at the bottom. But what burning bridges mean is, if you believe in something, which is normally yourself, don't give you any other choices than to succeed. Burn every bridges back to your old life. Burn them. They are no longer an option for you. Make your goal the only viable option for your future. This is what I just did. 3 months ago, I made money in a way. I'm making 6 digits, obviously, but I could have made 3 times my salary if I specialized. I decided not to because I didn't want to work 100 hours a week for somebody else. I wanted to do the bare minimum 40 hours a week so that I could spend the rest 80 hours in my week, spend it on my project. I made enough money to invest in it. But 3 months ago, I said, you know what? I'm kissing my career goodbye. It is not an option. Not only did I quit my job, but I'm never going back to Canada. And right now, I'm in a situation where I'm supporting my girlfriend. I convinced my girlfriend to quit her job that she could have continued doing remotely. But I'm like, I don't want you to do it anymore. I want you to do whatever the fuck you want to do. But burning bridges simply means remove all path to your old life and make that your new life is the only way forward.
I agree. I think people are my definition of a man is someone that can be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Okay.
Yep.
And that is something that thinks you can say it all day long. You can hear it, but until you understand it, if you're too cold, if you're too hot, if you're too tired, and you think, guess what? Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. One of the things the military taught me throughout my entire career was be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And you can lay that over a million different things. People have problems speaking to groups of people.
Yep.
Get over it.
It's the number one fear. Huh? Did you know
Is
that?
it really? I did not know that.
People are more scared to speak in front of a crowd than to die. I don't think you should be scared of either, because none of them are in your control.
I mean, is that literally true?
That's what they say.
It's
and I've looked at the statistics, and from the research that I've done using Google, it looks like it might be this. It actually is.
How can I've never had a fear of talking to a large group of people. Never had a fear of it.
Yeah.
It's always been very easy to me. I don't know why, and it doesn't work that you go, oh, picture them all in their underwear, whatever. Just go up there and talk.
There's nothing like having a massive boner as you're trying to speak to people.
I don't know what crowd you're talking to, but I'll agree with you. But
I'm not sure. I'm not sure either.
But I'll tell you what. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. The harder you make it, the easier it's going to be in the future, and you've got to actually be accepting of the discomfort so you can push through it or make it non-factor. But I've had a lot of fun today. I like interviewing you. You're an interesting guy.
We we should do that the other way around. No, but I've always wanted to have somebody ask me questions, because I'm normally the one that needs to kind of
carry the conversation.
Yeah, because a lot of the people that I speak to are not necessarily entertainers. They're just people that have such a great path in their life. The way they still live their life to this day is to their own drums. They don't give a fuck, but they're not natural speakers, right?
Sure. And that's not part of their they don't need that. They really don't.
But as a guy like me that wants to be in front of a camera, that wants to help others, for me to end up in sales is exactly what I needed to do to build the skills to do what I do right now.
I get more pleasure in helping others than my individual success. I have some friends that grew up without fathers, younger guys, and they use me as a mentor, and I've been able to help them. And I've got more. I get more pleasure out of helping people than I ever do of succeeding in whatever I do. I don't know why. That's just what I like to do.
Well, I think that's because we're meant to help.
I think you are.
If you somehow acquired knowledge that is needed, you need to lead by example, and you need to help people with the knowledge that you've acquired. Again, this is one thing. I always go back to martial art, but this is one of the things that martial art taught me. I fought as an amateur. I've never fought as a professional. I had a really good job throughout my amateur fighting career. I only fought because I was scared shitless of doing it. This is how it started. And then it evolved into a way where I wanted to test myself more and more and more, but I was still scared shitless of every fight. I'm literally signing a contract to get my ass knocked out. This is the possibility of what could happen. I can't even imagine what military people go through. But the point in the matter is that you need to challenge yourself. You need to go through those daily actions that will keep on making you better, forcing your hand. Don't give yourself a choice. Just be better or fucking die trying.
Do you know how many contracts I went through with God when I was in Iraq? You come in, like one of the scariest things, and I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's called brownout when you come in to land a helicopter. Yep. And you can't see. You're underneath, first of all, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're underneath night vision goggles, and you can see the landing zone where you would put the guys in at about 200 feet. But when you get down to about 25 feet, you're not going to be able to see anything.
Yeah.
You fly doors off, so you're looking, and you're going in, and sometimes you hit a really bad brownout where it's like baby powder sand. It's not gritty sand. It's just baby powder sand. When you hit that with your rotor wash, it just blocks everything you can ever see. So now you're flying with 12 guys in the back with your crew of 4, and you're like, God, if you let me land this thing and not kill every single person on board, I will never do this again. I will literally never do this. I will take off out of this LZ, and I will never, ever, ever do this again. Okay, so you do that. And then you take off, and then then you have to come back and pick the guys up, and you're like, hey, I just talked to you about 5, 10, 15 minutes ago about this. But if you allow me to land this thing so I can pick these guys up and get the hell out of here and not get killed, I'll never do it again. And then you fly home, and you're fine, and you forget about the conversation until the next brownout.
And then you do it the next day.
Yeah,
that's right. The next day, and then the next day. But see, you're bringing an interesting point, which is one of the other things that Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich. However you feel about God, however you feel about higher consciousness or something bigger than yourself, let's just call it that. There is something bigger than yourself. However the fuck you want to call it, if it's a guy with a white beard, if it's a black woman, if it's whatever. I speak to that whatever every morning and every night. And since I've been doing that, since I've been grateful for everything that I do, that I have, since I've been thanking that higher consciousness, if you will, my life has completely changed because my mindset has changed. Having faith in something that is greater than yourself completely changed me as a human being, because I know that I don't think I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I know. No is not even strong enough. I'm convinced it's already happened. I'm just walking the path and I'm putting in the work in order to get to the destination that I will end up to. But how? Because I have faith in myself, my abilities, but I also know that my life purpose is to help men achieve their personal legend, achieve what they were meant to be. We all have different ones, but mine is to help. That's what I am.
That's an amazing goal, and I think you're on the right path. I can't tell you if you're on the right path.
Oh, I know I am.
Then you know you're on the right path.
Yep.
Keep going. That's all I got to say about that. I just keep on praying to God when I go into burnout landings that I don't kill everybody in the back there.
But as much as you're laughing about it now, I guarantee you weren't fucking laughing back then.
Hell no.
But how does that, do you think it actually changes something to put your faith, literally your life, in something greater than yourself? Do you think that changes everything?
Yeah. I don't want to say it takes responsibility away, but it almost gives you a shared responsibility.
Yep.
It's like you know you're the guy manipulating the controls to get the aircraft to the ground, but it gives you a calming factor that there's someone else there with you, you know, and I do believe in a higher power, and I believe that there's something out there. And do I think he's zoned in on Jamie Fraser? No, but every now and then I put an SOS call out there and go, hey, can you give brother a chance? And he showed up.
Do you know why?
Please tell me if you know.
There's an expression that says that if you want something, just put it out there. This is...
Yeah, it's called Tinder. Yeah.
I didn't say if you have something, put it in her. I said put it out there. In the same way, if you look at the greatest Olympians of all time, the greatest Olympian of all time, Michael Phelps.
Aquaman.
Yep. If you look, see, this is one thing that is completely amazing about this guy, but as a human being, he has the perfect body to swim. He literally was genetically made to swim as much as a human being could possibly be. But one of the things that he talks about is since the age of 7, he's been doing what we call imaging. Same thing as visualization, they're just synonyms. But every day before going to bed, he imagines his next swim. So the swim that's coming up tomorrow, he's imagining it perfect, like a perfect swim in his mind, so that the next day it's like he's been there before. The samurais in Japan did that. One of the things that they needed to do is to imagine all the ways they could die, because they fought. That's what a samurai is. So they fought. So they believed that if they would meditate and visualize all the situation in which they could potentially die, they would be ready because they had been there before. And there's a study that came out, if I'm not mistaken, it was in the 70s, from a psychologist. So he went to a school, he took a class of individuals, split them into 3 different teams within that group of individuals. And what he said, he's like, okay, let's go to a free throw line in basketball. and let's see how many free throws you can do. You're not an athlete, you're just a regular person. And then he split those into 3 groups. And he said, first group, I want you to train X number of minutes every day. You're gonna shoot free throws. The second group, I don't want you to do shit. And the third group, all I want you to do is to visualize sinking those free throws. They came back, I think, if from memory, it's a month. They came back after a month. They retook free throws. The first group got better by 24%. Mm-hmm. The second group obviously didn't get better because they didn't do shit. The third group got better by 23%.
Wow.
Never touched a fucking basketball during that time. This is the power that you hold within yourself. This is what every single man out there is capable of achieving. And I like that study, but I wish he would have pushed it one step further. I wish that he would have taken the first group, told them to continue free throwing, but to meditate, visualize on sinking those shots. So let's say that 15 minutes a day you're throwing free shots. I want you to spend 10 minutes before you start shooting free throws. Visualize yourself. Perfect form, where your feet are. Imagine, smell the air, feel the air on you. What are you wearing? Where are you? Is it nice outside? What type of basketball are you shooting? What type of net are you shooting in? Are there people there watching, or are you alone? Immerse yourself into that experience and then start throwing those free shots. This is how I live my life. I visualize on a daily basis. This is why I know that what I'm doing is not only what I'm supposed to be doing, it's already happened. I'm just doing the work to get there.
I think one of the biggest drivers you have is to help other people.
Yeah.
And that comes, that doesn't just come for that. It's kind of its own ecosystem, if you will. It really is. You help people, they help people. If you continue this on, you help a mass amount of people.
It's leading by example.
It is. It is.
There's nothing more powerful than, if you look at society, unfortunately, we live in a more liberal society today. But if you look, there's 2 concepts in a way a society is going to work. You have the top-down approach, which most companies run that way. So you have the higher ups that will disseminate information down. They will say, this is the vision that we have. So the VPs, the CEOs, the CFOs are going to say, this is the plan. They're going to get to the director level, and those directors are going to direct the people below them to say, you're going to do the work in order to get us there. And then you have a more conservative approach that works bottom up, so that will put emphasis on the individual themselves to say, we want that individual to become better by their own premise, by their own ways. Because when you think about a society is just a bunch of people that decide to take shared values and to live under the same rules. That's all a society is. We agree to live together. Those are the rules that we want to respect. But you can change. Look at what's going on right now. You can have the government force people to do something by saying, you need to do this or else. They treat you like kids. It's like parents treating their kids. You'll change a society. You'll change it very fast, but it's never going to stick because the individual is no better. They've never been tested. They've never been in a situation where they needed to adapt.
Do you know how to defeat a Russian tank battalion?
No, I've never been in that situation, so I couldn't say I do.
You blow up the tanks with the antennas on it.
Communications?
Yeah.
Yep,
you know
they
why?
can't take orders anymore.
That's right.
Yep.
And that's the example of leading from top to bottom.
Beautiful. That only makes sense.
And in special operations, one of the best things in special operations is that We do after action reports after the mission's done. And we don't. And there's no rank in special operations. Everybody knows who the officer is. They know. Nobody wears rank. But when you go into an after action review, I don't care if there's an E5, which is a sergeant, or an O5, who's a commander or lieutenant colonel's in there. Everyone's got the same say. And you never run a perfect mission. And you want to hear your fuck-ups. Yeah. Because you are going to fuck up, but you don't want to fuck up twice. You don't want to fuck up the same way twice.
Yep.
And so this E5, that's the lowest ranking guy in the room, he comes up and says, hey, this is what went wrong.
Yep.
And guess what? Where you're in your position, you may never have seen that.
Yep.
But you know it.
Yep.
You know, and that's not leadership bottom to up, but it's just it gives everyone a say. And that's the problem, with the Russians. They lead by, you're the leader.
Yep.
And if the leader's gone, there's no one to take his place. And that's a scary place to be.
But again, you don't put emphasis on the individual itself. No. The biggest issue with a bottom-up approach is the fact that it takes time. Like a top-to-bottom approach is very fast. You can change a society within a generation. And because you force them, you treat them like children and say, if you don't do this, those are the consequences. Most people are scared shitless, so they will obey. But cut the head of that snake. Those people are living in chaos because they have no more direction, and that's what you're talking about.
Exactly.
But in a way where you train citizens, soldiers, kids, sons, whatever, you train them to be good men, to know values, to possess values, to understand their place within a unit. You don't need to have an upper body controlling everything, because you have put your full trust in individuals that will be in the action to take those actions without having to consult with you. As you were saying earlier, you brought up like an hour and a half ago, you spoke about people that relies on others for most of their needs. And you use police officers, or you use having somebody there to defend you. I chose to learn to defend myself because I know that 2 minutes is very fucking long when you're getting stabbed,
it's
when
eternity.
when you're getting shot, when something bad is happening. 2 minutes is your lifespan. And there's no way that the police officer is going to be there to help you within 2 minutes. It's never going to happen. But it is up to you. This is an opinion that women don't like. And I'm happy that I'm thinking about it, because I don't think I've ever shared it on a podcast before. But how do you fix rape victims? You teach women how to defend themselves.
Don't let them become victims.
It's such a small percentage of men that will rape women. And I'm not saying it's not happening. No. Obviously, the numbers are showing that it's happened. There's a lot of weak men out there, and they are weak men. The men that are rapists, they're fucking weak. And I strongly believe that somebody's been convicted of raping somebody. I believe in the 25-cent solution. Bullet in the back of the head.
You can get a bullet for 25 cents now? I don't know.
Oh, fuck, man. They're so... I'm thinking...
It's $1.
I'm thinking 223s. Yeah, I reloaded my own ammunition for a long time. So maybe it's more expensive, but you get what I'm saying.
It's $1.50 solution.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But a 22 can kill somebody. But the point is that you can be a victim your whole life, or you can choose to defend yourself. You can choose to do something about it. You don't fix a problem by trying to identify the very small percentage of individuals that are problematic. Instead, teach the vast majority of those people to know how to deal with that problem in the first place. Then you know what? That problem just goes away. In the U.S., this is one of the most idiotic things I've ever seen, but a few years ago, I saw people in the U.S. planting posts in the sign on their front lawn. It's like where you have that beautiful U.S. flag in front. Mm-hmm. You would post a post that says, gun-free zone.
The door's unlocked, too. Come on in.
Exactly. And my asshole's already lubricated, so you can just fuck me. If you want to fuck me, no problem. I'm waiting. I'm sleeping on my stomach. But how ridiculous is that? You're literally, the victim mentality is so pushed into a way where you're giving the control to criminals.
I know you have to talk my Rottweiler and all my guns when you come to this place.
What? You have guns? What? I would have never figured that out.
Yeah.
Ex-military guy that has guns. That's ludicrous.
Welcome to Texas.
I fucking love Texas.
I love Texas too.
You know, for all the Canadians out there, international people, even the Americans that never got out of their own states, over the past 3 months, I think this is our 7th or 8th states that we go into. And the 2 best states right now in the U.S. is Tennessee. I fucking love Tennessee.
Really?
And Texas. Yeah, because Tennessee is like Austin.
Where'd you? Oh, Nashville.
I did Nashville, Pigeon Forge, Knoxville.
Okay.
So I saw the Pigeon Forge that's extremely fucking touristy, which I didn't like. Knoxville, which is just more regular town, but it's a university town, so it's a party town.
Yeah.
And then I saw Nashville, which is the Las Vegas of cowboys. But I enjoyed Nashville. I really enjoyed it. But the point is that, as you were saying about Austin earlier, there's a lot of liberals, there's a lot of conservative, and a lot of people in the middle.
Yeah.
Because, see, that's another concept that is not taught, and I don't understand why. But have you ever heard of the bell curve?
Yeah.
So if you don't know what the bell curve is, it literally, if you look at an illustration, it shows the extremes. So basically, the research shows that 80% of people out there agree to a certain extent to another about everything. So if you look, most people technically are libertarians. Mm-hmm. Most people are not Democrats, they're not Republicans, or they're not liberals and conservative if you're in Canada. They sit somewhere in the middle. Only the 10% on each side that are extremists, no matter if it's the left or the right, but they scream very loudly.
They are.
And the 80% in the middle are normally quiet because they're too fucking busy doing the work. But this is...
It's true.
So that means that if I meet somebody new, 80% of chances that him and I agrees on most of our values. We share most values together, but yet we will argue and hate each other on the 20% we don't agree on. You know, I always put it in a school setting. If I have 80% on every single test out there, I'm fucking awesome. Why do we not live our life the same way?
I don't know. I do not know. Because you're right. We're majority of us are sitting right there in the middle. We agree on more things than we disagree on, but yet the polarization of a few topics makes it impossible to come to an agreement. The left and the right up at, especially in Washington, it just cracks me up because it is the biggest money factory. Those guys make more money, and our buddies outside of work, they hang out together. They're friends, everything.
Party lines mean nothing.
No, and they want to keep it going. They just want to keep it going. When you can have Nancy Pelosi, who makes, $250,000 a year, but is worth multi-millions because she's inside traded the entire time legally, and she has a broken rule. That's legal for her, and that's okay, and no one cares. And you're just like, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Look at Obama, the god president for the Democrats, was worth nothing before he came out. I think he's worth 40 or 50 million.
His title was community organizer.
And now he's worth something stupid like 40 or 50 million. You know who's the only president that lost money while being in power? Donald fucking Trump.
Yeah.
Hate him or love him, him taking time away from his business lost him money. Do you realize that he gave his salaries away? For the 4 years that he was in power,
it's chump change.
He gave that money away to charity. No other president ever done fucking something like that. You know what's bad about Donald Trump? If he would have been black, he would have been the best president that ever lived. Look at what Obama did. What did Obama did in 8 years? Fuck all. What did Trump do in 4 years? He ran the country like a business. Is he an asshole as a person? Oh, fuck yeah, he is.
Do you have to like the guy for him to?
Do you think most people like me? No. And you know what? I don't give a fuck. You can go fuck yourself.
And it's there's a lot of sensitive people out there.
Yep.
And do you like his policy? Well, yeah, I do. I like his policy. Do you like the guy? I'm like, yeah, I don't really like him, but I like what he did for the country. And then you can't separate the two things. How come you can't separate them? I don't understand that.
There's I did a podcast a couple years ago with a biologist out of the University of Montreal, which is one of the biggest universities in Canada. And he said one of the smartest thing I've ever heard. He's like, there is no such thing as a great man, only great ideas.
You know what I love about Canada? Is that
I don't know. but
you always call we down here in the United States we call universities and colleges. Up there it's always university. It's always university. It's never college. Do you have colleges or just universities?
Well, it depends because it's regulated on your equivalent of a state. We call them provinces.
Right, province.
In the Quebec province where I was born, there is a college. We call them cégep, but there are. Yeah. And if you want to go to university, you go to high school.
Right.
If you're planning to go to university, you're gonna do 2 years in college, and then you can do 1 or 2 years in college, and then you can go to university. But if you do something like I did a technical college. Mm-hmm. I never went to university. I just did 2 or 3 years, the equivalent of 2 or 3 years of college. It's more of a technical thing.
Do you have a choice after you go through your high school? And I don't know what you call it. Do you have high school?
Yeah.
Do you have a choice in there to transit to either go like blue collar stuff to learn?
Yeah, most of it is college.
Gotcha.
Most of it is, they call them DEP.
Okay.
But they are the equivalent of going to college. There's no philosophical classes. There's no economy class. You're really learning a trade.
I think that's one of the biggest things the United States is missing out in.
And Canada's the same way.
Yeah.
But yet I met a guy at the RV park where I'm staying right now. The guy is an electrician. He's a one-man operation and has been for years. He's had partners in the past. The only employees that he has now is a younger son. And he cleared more than $900,000 last year. He's an electrician.
That's it.
He's not a doctor.
Didn't have a title.
He's not an engineer.
I can't respect him. He doesn't have a title. It's so ridiculous.
And yet I've had some very interesting, even one yesterday, where he has helped so many young men and women over his life. He believes in helping people. He believes that... I'm in a situation with the person that's sitting right there right now that's helping me out, that has me thinking about what's my role, what am I supposed to do in his life right now. And I came up to him yesterday, and he doesn't know what I'm saying right now. He's learning about it as we're speaking. Yeah. But I approached him yesterday, and I'm like, what would you do? I met him. You know what? Let me back up. My girlfriend and I have been traveling the U.S. for 3 months now. We are in Houston, Texas. I'm at the gym. I'm at Gold's Gym, exactly where we met. And every day I spend 2 hours over there and I work out. And people are always drawn to me. They always ask me stuff. Plus, I carry a lot of recording equipment. So they're like, what the fuck's this guy doing? And one day, Josh, the guy that's sitting there, I'm working out. My girlfriend is recording what I'm doing. And he comes up to me and he's like, I followed you on social media and I just wanted to let you know that it's because of men like you, not because of me personally, but because of men like you with the message that you have, that I got out my depression and I'm doing what I want to be doing right now. It's because of the type of message that men like you are putting out there. And Josh is a big boy. He's like 6'2", probably weighs about 200 pounds, but he's very muscular. He's a good-looking kid. And he's not even looking at me in the eyes when he's talking. You can tell that he's shy. He's a young man. He's in his fucking 20s. He's like 20 years old. So I can't even imagine. I remember what I was at 20, and I would have been fucking looking at the ground too. But so I approached this guy in the RV park, because I had invited Josh. Like I met Josh at the counter. We're talking. He tells me that, and as we're leaving, he's at the counter. So I'm like, hey, have a good one. Hopefully, it's the 24th, so hopefully you have a good Christmas.
Yeah.
And then as I'm walking out, I stop. I look at my girlfriend. I'm like, she knows me. She just looked at me and she's like, yes, go ask him. I turn around and I'm like, hey, you have some family here? He's like, no, I just moved here about a week ago. I'm like, so who the fuck you're spending Christmas with? It's like, oh, with my dog, Gracie. I'm like, no, bro, you're going to come with us. We don't have much. We live in an RV. We're living a very regular life right now, but
Sure.
My girlfriend's Italian. She fucking loves to cook. If you want to show up, we're happy to have you. That same night, as I'm waiting for him, I'm walking my German Shepherd. I meet the guy I was just talking about, the electrician.
Right.
Turns out that he traveled 32 hours in the past 2 days with his younger son to come meet his older son that's a chef here in Austin. So they're just 3 guys with nothing really to do. The wife is flying in on the 25th. We turned, because I have a big mouth and I tend to talk to people, we spend from my girlfriend and I spending our Christmas alone, with Josh spending his Christmas alone, and the other 3 guys spending their Christmas with the 3 of them, to all partying together. We got drunk. We ate some food. We had 7 dogs in an RV because every single one of us have dogs.
That's it.
But this is simply because I want to help people.
Yeah.
And now, between you and I and Josh that's listening and whoever's listening to this, Josh has been living with us since then because he was living out of his car.
Wow. That's great. It's amazing.
But this is the power that we hold. I don't have much right now because I'm keeping all my money for my businesses. But one thing that I have is a heart. And I will never change, even if most people end up disappointing me and taking advantage of my heart. And maybe Josh will, maybe he won't, but I will not allow myself to not give him the opportunity to prove to myself that he wants to be better.
That's all you need is one opportunity.
And I approached that guy, the electrician, exactly for that, because on the 24th, he was getting really tipsy, and he's a big boy. He's like 6'2", 260. Oh, yeah, he's a big man. He used to be a wrestler back in college, and he fought at 215 at 5%. Yeah. No, he's a big boy. I have big hands.
Yeah.
His fingers are like fucking sausages. So I went to him yesterday. And I'm like, can I take a couple minutes of your time? Like, I value your opinion, so can you help me out here? And this is all it takes.
Sure.
Why be ashamed of not knowing when, if you open your eyes, you will find people that are ready to help you everywhere.
Yep.
Listen to what's going on around you. You will see opportunities to be great on a daily basis. And that is all you need to change the world, is for everybody to put in their 2 cents and help their fellow men. That's it. And funny enough, that's in the Bible, that's in the Quran, that's in Buddhist texts, that's in Stoic texts. Every single text out there that's survived time talks about helping other people and how great it will make you feel as an individual when that person you chose to help succeed.
That's it.
See how life is easy?
It's very easy.
Stop being a fucking asshole. Stop envying other people. Do the work. And when you can, help as many people as you can. There you go. That's life for you.
I think that's amazing.
But that's in my control.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Stop being comfortable. Stop being uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. Be comfortable. It takes that step for you to go and talk to Josh. Was that a comfortable step? Was it something that you had to step outside of yourself to do?
No, not for me.
Not for you.
It's something I've done my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
It was more uncomfortable for Josh to come.
To accept. Yeah.
It was more uncomfortable for him to do it.
That's true.
It was more uncomfortable to admit that he was living out of his car.
Yeah.
It was more uncomfortable. And you know what was uncomfortable? The 25th morning. Because Josh left on the 24th to what I was thinking was an apartment or an Airbnb.
Sure.
But he left to live in his car in a parking lot with his dog. That was uncomfortable for me on the 25th because we got up. I don't really drink much. This is the most my girlfriend has seen me drink in 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, I don't think he has a place to stay. That was uncomfortable. Realizing that I was too inebriated to see all the little signs that he's put, not consciously, but I should have known. Now looking back, and that's 3 days ago.
Yeah.
It's not far ago. It's like 4 days ago. Sorry. But I could have realized that this was uncomfortable, that I did not see the signs.
They're there. Wow. Well, good on you, sir.
See, and this is what bothers me, is that what I'm doing is not special.
No.
This is what bothers me, that I'm an exception when this is in the power of everybody out there. Every man out there has the option to be kind, to be better for the fellow man, to help them, but yet we choose to be stupid. We choose to value the wrong things and wonder why our society's in chaos.
We're living in interesting times. That's all I can tell you.
You know, in today's world, if you look at social media, to me, social media is a marketing platform. If you're smart, it's a way to reach, if you have a good message, to reach people that would need to hear your message that you can end up helping. And I work with a couple marketing companies to kind of focus the message so that it resonates with people, to find the people that I want to help, how to put my voice in front of them. And I came up with an ad that I'm going to be running very soon. I'm going to record it tomorrow, so hopefully 2 weeks from now it's going to be running. It's just, I'm not looking to make money. I just want to show good men out there that we respect them and continue being a good man. That's it. Because most of us, we're taken for granted. This society was built on the back of good men. They bled, they sweat, they cried, they fucking died to make the society that we have today that we take for granted. We forget all those good men out there that are just protectors, that are just there to provide for their families, that do job for 30 years that they fucking hate, but they paved the way for their kids to go to university. Their wife was taken care of. They made sure that everybody else except them benefited from their sacrifice. But we forgot about that. We take them for granted, and we wonder why our society is so fucked up, because there's less and less of those good men out there that are selfless.
I just think that the government wants you to be no more reliable on your family, and they want you to be reliable on your government. And I want less government. I want more independence, and I want people to take care of themselves.
But that means you're putting the power on the individual.
That's true.
But the smarter the individual, the harder they are to control, which goes against what a government actually, at least what the government has become.
Yeah.
If there's a great book written by an Italian guy called Niccolo Machiavelli, was written probably 400 or 500 years ago. back when Italy was not one country. It was kind of all sections of Italy. They all, I think there were 6 or 7 of them, all had their own kings, and they were all at war with each other, obviously. And the guy was a very intelligent guy, and he wrote a very long letter to his king, which he was part of the smallest portion of Italy, so the weakest, and he taught him how he could gain control of all Italy, how he could become more powerful. For the people out there, the book is called The Prince by Machiavelli. All the politics that are being used today have been defined by that guy 500 years ago. If you read that book, I don't want to ruin it for you, but read that book and start looking at what's going on around you. You realize that every single thing he taught his king to do are still going on today. They don't want people like me that educate themselves, that read. I didn't function in school. I quit when I was fucking 15 years old because I thought I was stupid. Because I don't work in an environment of a teacher telling me what to think, I'm stupid.
There's a lot of stupid, smart people out there.
Oh, man. Absolutely. There's a lot of them. It's holy shit. I'm looking at the timer. We've been going for 2 hours. This is way beyond people's attention span. Even Josh, that's in the back, is like, "Hey, bro."
Josh went to sleep about 15
Yeah,
minutes
Josh,
ago.
like, I'm fucking hungry, bro. What the fuck we're doing?
That's it.
But listen, we met 2 days ago. We fucking invaded your house with shitload of equipment. I'm looking around. There's a lot of equipment.
It's a lot of fun.
And I just want to thank you for taking the time. I want to thank you for being the man that you are. And
anytime.
for your service, because I value what you guys do.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time. Thanks for the cigar. Almost killed me.
Thanks again, man.
Sure.
You've been listening to the Nico Lagan Show. Nico has been involved in the martial arts for 20 years. He's a Muay Thai coach, focus coach, podcaster, and sought-after public speaker. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we hope you've gotten some useful and practical information. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Coach Nico Lagan and on YouTube at The Nico Lagan Show. See you next time.